All right, we're going to move on to something that is actually the good part of the film industry. Actually, it's not, the Oscars are not part. They're not good. They're not the good part of thing, but they do represent good movies. We can't deny that, at least. So we're going to move on to some positivity before we close off this podcast. So Variety have published their predictions for the Oscar season, really just before the fall film festival circuit really starts to begin, and that's when we really start to see the Oscar race start to take shape. So this is kind of our early look at things and see how it is. Now, me and Nayan have seen we've seen a few of these, but we're going to go through it. Just something to note before we get down: if you don't hear Dune Part 2 or The Color Purple, it's because it's not included in Variety's predictions due to the possibility of a strike. I was looking at all the predictions and I was like, wow, this guy is ballsy. He's not going to put Dune on for anything, not even visual effects, not cinematography, not score. I was like, oh, this is a madman running loose. He needs to be fired. And then I looked a little bit deeper into his explanation on Best Picture, and then I saw that we're not going to do Dune until it's like confirmed. So that makes sense. Also, Challenges was delayed, which was setting up to be a Oscar contender as well. All right. So Best Picture. The predicted nominees: Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, May December, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Saltburn, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and The Zone of Interest. Now, the predicted winners: Killers of the Flower Moon, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and directed by Martin Scorsese. Me and Name, we have seen Barbie, May December, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So about half the list here. Name, yeah. What do you think about these? Do you think any that are missing or any that don't deserve to be potential nominee at this point?
Nah, I think it's a pretty good it's a pretty good sort of list at the moment. Maybe Monster, if that kicks through in the international market and starts gaining waves, similar to Parasite. But with Parasite, you had I don't know how to pronounce it, Bong Joon-ho, or as a director, and he's quite well known in the English market as well.
Yeah.
But I think Monster could, if it starts to gain that sort of traction, it could be included in this. Did you say who Variety thinks is going to win it?
Yes, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, just from what I've seen so far and just the synopsis of the other things, I think it's a 3-horse race at the moment between Killers, Maestro, and Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I think they will win it. I wouldn't be surprised if Killers win it, but if I had to pick one, it would be Oppenheimer, because I think Nolan just should get his Oscar. And hey, if they
that's your vote, or that's what you think will win it at this stage?
That's what I think will win it at this stage. I haven't seen Killers, but just based on the stuff I've seen, definitely by far Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer's making waves, and I don't see much people hating Oppenheimer. Yeah, its reviews are insane. I basically agree with you, at least in terms of the top 3. I think Killers, Maestro, and Oppenheimer are probably the 3-horse race there. We got to see how Maestro is, but we know that Killers is pretty great from what we've heard in the reviews. Past Lives could make a surprise play to be quite a strong contender in there. It feels like one of those. There's always that movie that you don't see coming, and it comes quite strongly. I think Past Lives could be that. I don't know too much about Saltburn or Zone of Interest, but I know that the director of Saltburn, Emerald Fennell, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but she did Promising Young Woman, so immediately I'm excited for it because I love that movie. And I don't know too much about The Holdovers either, but I think Barbie is, I was saying this to you the other day, I think Barbie's your kind of Top Gun of the year. Could be a surprise. It could could really surprise. Depends how the Academy feels about it, but it is kind of like a weird movie for the Academy to like
nominate or win.
Maybe not nominate or win. Yeah, if Barbie made $400 million at the global box office, it would not be nominated. I know that, like, the fact that it has this worldwide phenomenal success that elevates its status here. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That's a surprise. Animated movies don't get the Best Picture nomination. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if it will hold up in terms of being maybe not worthy is the right word, but I don't think it'll hold up in terms of getting the nomination when all these other surprise movies can enter the play. I think the fact that Spider-Verse is such a part one and not a complete story, I think that does degrade its status a little bit. And I do think the Academy will see that as not a complete Best Picture nomination. But yeah, I think May December's good. It feels very perfect for what the Academy would nominate. You just get that sense of that feeling.
Yeah.
All right, move on to director. Predicted nominations are Bradley Cooper, Emerald Fennell, Christopher Nolan, Martin Scorsese, and Celine Song. Predicted winner is Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah, and Bradley Cooper is Maestro. Yeah, Celine Song, Past Lives. Who do you think?
Who do I think will win?
Well,
Or
yeah,
from what I've seen.
from what you've seen, just kind of give your perspective.
I think if there's every year for Nolan to win, it's going to be this year. I think he's delivered us such a fantastic film.
Yeah.
I still think in my mind he's a front runner, unless Killers of the Flower Moon is just absolutely fantastic. That's the only film that would threaten him getting his first ever Oscar.
Yeah.
I do think with the popularity of Barbie that Greta Gerwig might get nominated. I wouldn't be surprised if she is nominated.
Yeah.
But if she is, I don't think she'll have a chance of winning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think if Napoleon is great, I think Ridley Scott makes it in here.
I think so too.
And I think he could be a good player to be director, especially as that movie is quite a large scale movie. And also if Dune's released, you got to include like kind of Dune in our thinking here because we'll run under the assumption that it is going to release. I think Denis Villeneuve gets it as well. I think you're right about Greta Gerwig. I think it's Christopher Nolan's best chance at an Oscar for his best all-around film. But I think it's a tough race, man. It's a strong year for directors. It's going to be hard, but yeah. I would hope Christopher Nolan, unless the other ones are amazing. And Maestro's looking really good so far. And Bradley Cooper's clearly a talented director. It's going to be a really fun category. I think it's going to be a really good Oscars this year.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Actor in a leading role. So the predicted nominees are Paul Giamatti, Bradley Cooper, Leonardo DiCaprio, Coleman Domingo, and Cillian Murphy. Predicted winner for this is Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers. So yeah. Thoughts on this one? Because we've only seen one of these performances, and we loved Cillian Murphy.
We do.
Yeah.
Obviously, the big one here is Leonardo DiCaprio. We always know what he's going to get. We always know what we're going to get with him. He's just a fantastic actor. Mm-hmm. So he's pretty much always going to get nominated for every movie he does, basically. So I think he could be in line for a second. Yeah. I would like Bradley Cooper to get one if he's just as good as he was in A Star Is Born.
Yeah.
I haven't heard much about Paul Giamatti, but I have seen his name come across a lot of Best Actor stuff. So
yeah,
obviously he must be in the running, but I think that is the 4-horse race. I think Bradley Cooper's just on the outer, and he's absolutely fantastic in Maestro. But yeah, who do I want to win? I think I want Cillian Murphy to win. I think he was just fantastic, and he portrayed Oppenheimer to pretty much perfection.
Yeah, it kind of feels like he deserves that kind of that moment in his career.
Yeah.
I would say that Bradley Cooper probably is the best chance here. I haven't seen much Paul Giamatti, but Bradley Cooper, it just feels like such an Oscar baity role.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen images of him as Maestro? It doesn't look like Bradley Cooper at all. He looks like really old. The makeup and hairstyle looks crazy for it. I'll try find a picture for you in a minute, but yeah, I think Bradley Cooper does have a strong position in this. I think Leonardo DiCaprio as well. He's always going to be a player in this, but we've seen we've seen him lots of times be nominated and kind of feel front running or feel like he has the best performance, but yeah, it just always doesn't come to fruition. we're always let down unless he, goes and sleeps under thing and gets skinny and eats raw coal and then goes in the snow and does all this crazy physical stuff. Yes, so that's Bradley Cooper there. Yeah,
I have seen that. Sorry, yeah.
Yes, so I think with that, the fact that it just feels so Oscar-y. So I think he does have the best chance. But we got to see Paul Giamatti, I guess. Actress in a leading role. So the predicted nominees are Sandra Hüller in Anatomy of a Fall, Greta Lee, Past Lives, Carey Mulligan, she would be in Saltburn, I'd say, and Natalie Portman in May December, and Margaret Robbie in Barbie. So I don't know why they're laughing there. Natalie Portman's a predicted winner for this for May December. So first question, are we laughing at Margaret Robbie? And second, what are your thoughts?
Margaret Robbie has no chance. Not compared to like all these other actresses, even though I've only seen 2. But I just think she's not quite on that level.
You've seen 4 of these. Sandra Hüller.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Anatomy of a Fall. I completely forgot about that one. Yeah.
Greta Lee is Past Lives.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That was the other one I was referencing. I completely forgot I saw Barbie for a second in my statement. But yeah, I just think the other 4 actresses are just on another level to what Margot Robbie did. Like, obviously, Margot was fantastic in her role as Barbie. She captivated that performance well.
Yeah.
But these other actresses are just a step above. I think Natalie Portman, I agree with that and being the favorite. I really like to see Greta Lee win. I think I'd prefer her to win. I thought Natalie Portman was just somewhat of herself, really. And, we didn't really see that much emotion of her until like the last half hour in that film. But during Past Lives, Greta Lee, she was like, there was something in every scene, like we could see the conflict of her and like how torn she was between, her childhood friend and her husband. I think she just gave a more well-rounded and complete performance. So I want her to win.
Yeah. Fair enough. I would go on the opposite side of things. Sandra Hüller, she's amazing, but I think she's amazing in that one scene. She really holds her own in the other scenes though, but that kind of that argument scene, absolutely fantastic. Great stuff. Greta Lee is fantastic and well-rounded, but Natalie Portman, that one scene where it's just like her in the frame.
And just talking?
Yeah, and it's like a 5-minute talking thing. There's so much in that, and it's really...
I think that's the scene that would probably win it for her.
Oh, 100%.
If that scene wasn't there, I don't think she'd have a chance.
Yeah. She is really good in all the other sides of it, but yeah, that one scene, and particularly in the last half an hour, she is really strong, and we've seen it time and time again when it's like a certain moment that kind of steals the whole show for an actor.
Yeah.
But I think you are right that Greta Lee gives a well-rounded performance, but I just think Natalie Portman was better because of what she did in that really long one scene. I think it was just amazing stuff. But yeah, it's going to be a good year for Best Actress as well. Yeah, we'll move on to actor in a supporting role. So the predicted nominees: Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr., Ryan Gosling, John Magaro, and Charles Melton. Who do you think will win here?
Is De Niro for Killers?
Yes.
I want RDJ to win. He literally gave a career best performance, and he literally broke this. Like, everyone, whenever they hear Robert Downey Jr., they just think of Iron Man, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
I think.
Sorry, I'll just jump in here. So John Magaro is the husband in Past Lives, and Charles Melton is the husband in May December.
Oh.
Yeah. So we've seen four of these. I'm looking forward to the last one, who is an historic actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like Charles Melton. I thought he was really, really good in May December. Now that you pointed it out. And I think just the way he portrayed his character of like that sort of person that's never been like exposed to the real world, but was under the shackles of an older woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that?
It's a very good performance. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he played that absolutely perfectly, and like
Mhm.
his hobby can be seen as somewhat childish, you know,
Yeah.
something that you do like in primary school, intermediate,
Mhm.
or I don't know, first to fourth grade
Yeah.
for you states people.
Mhm.
But yeah, yeah, I really want Downey Jr. to win. Once I see Colors of the Flower Moon, I'm sure no doubt Robert De Niro would take it away. But
Yeah.
I think Downey Jr.'s portrayal in Oppenheimer is fantastic. Like you can see like his stress and like his anger and his resentment, his
Yeah.
cockiness off like, oh yeah, I've got this in the bag, and
Yeah.
then just like when he suddenly loses, he just does like this little tick with his face, and he's just like, fuck,
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
just so good.
It's so good. Yeah. Yeah, I'm basically with you on this one. I really did like Robert Downey Jr. just because he runs so far away from the shadow of Iron Man in this. And
Yeah.
it's a very hard thing to do when you've played a role for so long, and for audiences to just be captivated in a different performance from you. And I think he did that perfectly. Yeah. Ryan Gosling, I don't get it. At least not for an Oscar contending level. He was
Yeah.
great, but it was just kind of like
It wasn't
funny, like
wasn't
cool, yeah.
best supporting. I don't think he'll get nominated. If he does going to get nominated, it's because there's no one else.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't get it. Like obviously we saw those reactions before the film. You're like, oh yeah, but when we actually watched it, he was just like just comedic goof, really.
Yeah. I think John McGarrett is a good addition to this list as well. He doesn't really have any time to shine, but going back to what Celine Song said in the Q&A that we attended, that conversation in the bar, and he's kind of just sitting there the entire time, the camera's rolling just on his face for the entirety of it, and just I think the way he listens and reacts to the conversation between two other people, I think it's just done really subtly, and it's just really good, and I think it's well rounded by the end of it. Yeah, he was completely convincing in the role, and it just felt so real. But I would even make the argument that the childhood friend even deserves a spot, or deserves to be in the conversation.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah. Otherwise, Charles Melton might be a second favorite of mine. There's that argument between him, and I thought he was just so good in it. But the way he carries himself, it's just so different to adults.
Yeah.
And you feel that, and you kind of understand that. It's just really interesting because as that movie develops, you kind of start understanding what's happened, and it starts to unravel itself. But from the get-go, in his performance, you can see something's just slightly off. And I thought it was just a neat way he played it, more so with body language than big scenes, as Robert Downey Jr. does. But yeah, I think Robert Downey Jr. is just great. We move on now to actress in a supporting role. So, predicted nominees: Emily Blunt, Viola Davis in Air, America Ferrera in Barbie, Lily Gladstone in Colors of the Flower Moon, and Julianne Moore in May December. So the predicted winners to be Lily Gladstone in Colors of the Flower Moon. And we have seen all of these ones. Yeah.
Not Colors of the Flower Moon.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. Damn, I got excited. It's because it's in bold. So, like, yeah. Okay. We haven't seen all of them, but again, we've seen 4 out of 5. We just keep missing out on the predicted winners, which is annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, what do you think?
That actually is so annoying.
Yeah, I know. And the predicted winners always seem to be Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah. I can see, just based on that trailer, that Lily Gladstone is going to be a standout in this film. Mm-hmm. And just based on the trailer, I can see her winning supporting actress.
Mm-hmm.
I think Emily Blunt, she was fantastic, but she didn't really have a significant sort of moment. The only moment was at the end when she was going back and forth with the lawyer.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the scene that made her in contention.
Yep.
The only other one that I could see challenging Lily Gladstone would probably be Julianne Moore. I thought she was just fantastic.
She's good at yeah.
She was so good, just in terms of like that, you know, that sort of toxic sort of housewife, but then like not understanding or not like understanding like her husband's feelings and whatnot, and just wanting to focus on her children.
Yeah, and her lisp as well.
And her lisp as well. Like, it's we said it before. Like, it's just a well-rounded performance from her. So I think she is a very strong contender if it's not
Mhm.
Lily Gladstone. Just
Yeah. I think America Ferrera gets nominated similar to Emily Blunt. It's that one monologue scene that kind of gets her over the line. And I do agree with Emily Blunt. I think it's that one scene as well that's going to get her into contention as well. Viola Davis in Air, I thought she was great, but I can't remember it. It's not really memorable to be in contention here.
yeah.
I do find that one to be an odd one, but Viola Davis is an Academy favorite and she's great. And I do remember her being well, but yeah. Lily Gladstone seems to already have this one locked up, it seems. Julianne Moore could surprise her. Really, it's going to be really interesting to see where May December goes. I didn't really see it as a big contender prior to seeing it, or I didn't know it was going to be a big contender prior to when we saw it that night or Saturday night. Yeah.
Has Emily Blunt won an Oscar before?
No, I don't think so.
They could do it.
She's nominated.
They could do a whole Jamie Lee Curtis and just give it to her.
No, because Jamie Lee Curtis has like been around forever. Yeah, I don't think they're going to give it to anyone else besides Lily Gladstone at this point.
Yeah.
Original screenplay predicted nominees are Barbie, The Holdovers, May December, Past Lives, and Saltburn. And predicted winner is to be Barbie. What do you think, Nay? We've seen 3. We haven't seen all of them.
I know you don't have to justify.
I'm going to keep justifying.
Barbie is interesting. I thought it was a decent screenplay, but I think May December Past Lives is just that notch above, especially Past Lives, just the way the whole story unravels and the emotion, and then especially that ending. You know, that we still don't know what the main character is going to do.
Yeah.
And until the very last 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my pick to win Best Original Screenplay.
Yeah.
If not, May December second for sure, because that was as I did find that film boring, and you'll hear about it. But I still thought it was a fantastic film, and the screenplay was really good. But Barbie as a winner is just a shock. I think it's just going because it's so popular right now.
Yeah.
It's just taking away attention from what is actually a really good screenplay, which is Past Lives and May December.
Yeah, it's like we said in the review for Barbie. It's so full of really good and compelling ideas, but none of them stick because none of them are focused on. And the film kind of starts off like not really exploring anything. It's just kind of a fun adventure at this point, and then it really dives into the ideas and themes kind of midway through the movie. And by the end of it, you're not really left with anything to think about because the movie is very direct in what it wants to say. There's no subtlety to it. Past Lives and May December do hold that subtlety factor that you do think about it afterwards. I strongly disagree that May December is boring. I
found it boring.
The screenplay, it's just my take. But I think May December should take this one away. I think it's just very intricate, very complex characters, and just it gets to really deep kind of human nature, and just a really bizarre way to get to that conclusion. But yeah, it's just so real. And Past Lives is very, very real and very human, but in a completely different way. But more of a calm and somber way. I think just May December has so much layers and complexities over it that you can really dig deep into that movie. But we're still waiting on Saltburn and Holdovers. It could be an interesting category by the year's end. Adapted screenplay. So the predicted nominees here is Dumb Money, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and The Zone of Interest. Predicted winner is Killers of the Flower Moon. Thoughts?
If it doesn't get delayed, Dune will be here. I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I 100% feel that. I think maybe Spider-Man might take its place. Wait, no. It will take Spider-Man's place.
Right.
Just because Across the Spider-Verse, it's that sort of part one sort of thing. Like, it was a fantastic screenplay and whatnot, but it's still somewhat incomplete, where Dune Part 2 is apparently, it's the ending of Part 1. Killers of the Flower Moon, I wouldn't be surprised if this wins, but again, we've only seen two of these films.
Yeah.
So, based on what I've seen, I'll go Oppenheimer, because
Oppenheimer. I think
that, because that was just a fantastic adaptation of Robert J. Oppenheimer. Like, it was an actual character study on him.
Yeah.
Like, we mentioned it before in the review, like Cillian Murphy is in 99% of that film,
Yeah.
really.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just fantastic. So I think Killers of the Flower Moon needs to be something absolutely brilliant for it to beat Oppenheimer.
Yeah. And it is kind of two powerhouses going at it because they're both really long movies, screenplay heavy. Yeah. So it's kind of like Battle of the Titans for this one.
The new Barbenheimer.
New Barbenheimer.
Killerheimer.
Yeah. Killerheimer. Gosh. Open Moon.
That's actually better than Killerheimer.
Open Moon. Yeah, I don't really see anything contending with those two. I think they are the heavyweights of this. Across the Spider-Verse, I don't get it. It's too much of a part one to really be in contention. Dumb Money could be interesting, but that has the potential to be either really great or really shit.
Mm-hmm.
It could be like kind of like The Social Network on a screenplay level, just because of it's dealing with modern digital kind of stuff. So if it's written really well, then I think it could stand a chance. But yeah, I'm gonna give my I'll bet on Killers and Oppenheimer before anything else.
Would you agree that if Dune doesn't get delayed, it will get in this category?
Oh yes, it should, because I don't think Spider-Verse could hold that momentum if Dune's around. Yeah. Oh, and Aquaman, throw that in there too.
Right. See you guys.
Oppenman. Aquaheim. Okay, I'm sorry.
This is the stuff I put up with on a daily basis, guys.
No. Off the podcast, he deals with a lot worse. I'm my best self on this podcast, which probably isn't saying much. No, I'm great. Trust me. Move on to Best Animated Feature. The predicted nominees are Elemental, Nimona, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and Wish. Nimona, I think, is on Netflix. It's rated very highly. Yeah. I think people are loving it, but
it's on my watch list. Yeah.
Oh, really? Our watch list now. Yeah. So, okay, who do you think should win this one? It's because we're kind of criticizing Spider-Verse a little bit throughout these.
I think it is very clear Spider-Verse will win it. I think this is because in the other categories it was, like Best Picture. When have we ever seen an animated film nominated for Best Picture? I can't remember what.
Toy Story 3 did. I think Inside Out. I think it might be only one or two. Besides that, it's very rare. Yeah.
And those were like a complete story.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that this is the category where it wins, like it dominates.
Yes.
Super Mario Brothers movie. Why is that there? Apart from
because it made over $1 billion.
Yeah, I know. If anything, because we haven't seen it yet, and if it is anything as good as people say it is, I think Ninja Turtles could be in there, and it could replace that.
Yep.
And if it is actually fantastic, then it could probably give Across the Spider-Verse a run for its money.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is literally, it's to lose at this point. It was just a fantastic animated film in terms of not only the animation, but the character development and the story and whatnot, and the cliffhanger ending as well.
Yeah.
It's just, you can pretty much lock it in. It's like Avatar,
Absolutely.
for visual effects.
I wouldn't lock it in that much, but I would lock it in. When it comes to animated feature, you got to consider the animated component and what is the best animation there. Spider-Verse, obviously. But I'll play devil's advocate here. Nimona, Netflix movie. What won last year? A Netflix movie. It could be a surprise dark horse, and I've heard really good things about it. I don't think Elemental, but you never know. Pixar.
I think there's always a Disney and a Pixar film in these categories.
Yeah, and they usually win. We don't know what Wish is going to be. Wish could just turn out to be amazing, or it could be bad. A player that could replace Mario Bros. Is Migration by Illumination. That might have some potential there. That's the only one I can really think of. Other than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, of course. So it will be interesting, but it's going to be a good category. But yeah, I do think you're right that Across Spider-Verse is going to be a clear front runner.
Yeah.
Through the entirety of the way.
Because Into the Spider-Verse won, right? When it
yes. But I do think that if there is a category that could be a big surprise that no one sees coming. It could be animated. They could, and everyone's gonna be so mad about it, but it could happen.
I'd love Ninja Turtles to like upset. That would just
Mario,
be,
Mario Bros. Upsets.
that I think that is the biggest upset in film history.
That would be a fun podcast to do.
That would be a fun just because of how like critically shat on it got.
Yeah.
Because isn't it rotten? I'm pretty sure it's rotten.
That's like 50, yeah.
And wow, that would be a fun podcast.
Yeah, it would be a fun podcast. It's gonna be a good podcast anyway because there's some really good stuff in there. Best production design. The predicted nominees are Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Napoleon, and Oppenheimer. Predicted winner is Oppenheimer. Just so much good stuff in there. What do you think on this one?
I could see it. I also see Barbie winning. I mean, the sets in that was absolutely fantastic. I mean, and again, the fact that they run the world dry of pink paint is another story. But then you also have contenders like Killers of the Flower Moon and Napoleon, very like somewhat time period based movies.
Yeah,
production is always fantastic in those sort of settings as well.
Even Oppenheimer is a time period movie.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be a really tight category between those four. Haven't seen Maestro yet, so once we see it, that could be a contender. But I really like all these nominations here. And for Dark Horse, I think Napoleon could do it.
Napoleon, yeah. If Napoleon has to be good for it to make a play here.
Yeah.
But I see kind of equal. It's kind of like 20% per one here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Barbie has a very compelling case, but then Killers would have a really compelling case as well. Oppenheimer, they built a new Los Alamos.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and so and then Maestro, it's obviously going to have good stuff there. Napoleon already looks fantastic. So, oh man, it's a tight one. I'm looking forward to that category. I'm looking forward to the next one as well, which is Best Cinematography. So the predicted nominees are Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. The fact that I'm hearing Zone of Interest gets me interested. Because I haven't heard of it until I saw these nominees today.
Oh, piques interest.
Yeah. Huh?
Said it piques interest.
Puts me in a zone of interest, I'll tell you that much. So what are your thoughts on this one? Because we've only seen two of these, but we've seen stuff from Killers and Poor Things as well in the trailers and stuff.
I heard some of that Poor Things could potentially get delayed. I don't know how true those rumors were, but
I heard that too. It did get delayed till December. I know that much.
Oh, so it's still in play.
Yeah.
Then also don't forget, if Dune sticks, that's automatically going to be in here, 100%.
Oh yeah, all right. Then it would probably take out Zone of Interest because
yeah.
In production. Oh wait, can we go back to production design real quick?
Dune will be a part of that too.
But where?
Oh fuck.
Oh, this is good.
If Napoleon doesn't hit, I think that's where it could fit in.
Or Maestro. If it takes a okay, we'll stick with cinematography now. But but we got to remember Dune in these conversations.
Yeah, I think this is very similar to production design. You know, like anything here could like just imagine Dune releases, takes out Zone of Interest.
Yeah,
any one of those 5 films could win. The cinematography in Oppenheimer and Past Lives is fantastic.
Yeah,
Oppenheimer was fantastic. Past Life was more intricate. And really smart in its camera work. Poor Things, based on the trailer, you know, the whole different color palettes and whatnot, fantastic.
Yeah.
Killers of the Flower Moon, it just seems like one of those movies that's going to, you know, utilize natural lighting and whatnot.
Yeah, you just know.
Yeah. So it's one of those very tough categories where I wouldn't be mad if no one won or lost, or if anyone won, you know, because they all deserve it.
Yeah, even something like Maestro and Napoleon, they look like they have good cinematography as well.
Yeah.
And I know A Star Is Born had good cinematography, so Bradley Cooper clearly has an eye for it. And Napoleon, the trailer looks incredible. It's going to be a tough category. I mean, a lot of these are turning out to be quite tough. We move on to the next one though now. Best costume design. So the predicted nominees are Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Wonka. What are your thoughts on these ones?
I'm surprised Napoleon's not on here.
Yes, that's true.
Because if it was, I'd probably say that would be my pick just based on that one trailer. You know, just the costumings and that is fantastic.
And think about Dune as well.
And Okay, these technical ones are just so like tight. Like who knows?
Good, yeah.
Barbie winning.
Yeah, Barbie's predicted to win.
I can't get on board with that. I think
Oh,
like I can see why it would win.
yeah.
Like, and don't get me wrong, it does have good costume design, but I think stuff like because of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Napoleon especially would have way better costume design than Barbie. Even Wonka could,
surprise,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. It's a tricky one. I think Barbie has really great costume design, but it's not the kind of costume design where I would be like, oh, the Academy's gonna love this. They're gonna vote for this and make it win. Even though it's great, and I would say it's probably one of my favorites here. Oppenheimer, it's good, but a lot of it's just suits. Yeah, but it's all very fits all in with the era of it all. And you kind of have Oppenheimer's look in a sense. Killers of the Flower Moon, that's going to be great. As you know, Maestro, I don't really know enough about it to comment. Wonka could be a good surprise. Dune's obviously going to make a play for it. And yeah, you're completely right. I think Napoleon, it has to be a great movie and get a lot of momentum to be in these kind of categories. But just, from what we saw in that trailer and kind of the era that takes place, and I'm surprised it's not even in this.
Yeah.
But it will be in our predictions. We're going to move on now to Best Film Editing. So predicted nominees are Air, Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Saltburn. Predicted winner is Oppenheimer. Thoughts?
That's going to be the winner.
Think so?
I think so. I mean, I don't know why Barbie's or Air is nominated there. I thought the editing was good, but not really Oscar worthy, But with Oppenheimer, it was just fantastic, like split it, like having two different stories happen at the same time, but then be so completely apart.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. And the way Nolan like made it catch up and then blend into the courtroom sort of era was fantastic. And those 3 hours flew by. Like I was expecting more when those credits were ended. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Like this has to be more for this. So I think Oppenheimer it will be my clear favorite for editing.
Yeah, man, I'm completely on board with that. Yeah, Oppenheimer had so much different time periods, and he just blends it perfectly together because it really does showcase all of Oppenheimer's life, even his early university stages. And then you obviously got the creation, and then all the trials and legal stuff afterwards, and even his late life as well. Barbie, I don't really know why that would be considered. It was fine, nothing special. I think Air has a really neat kind of 90s energy to its editing and pacing. Not much where I would consider it to be a best film editing. But all of these are better picks than Bohemian Rhapsody, which won best editing. So I'm happy with all of them regardless.
You'll never let that down.
I never will, because there's that one scene where it cuts like 12 times in a minute. It's not best editing. Killers of the Flower Moon, don't forget that's about 3.5 hours. If that can be I don't know if you're saying, oh my God, it's like a bad thing or a good thing.
Good thing.
A good thing. Yeah, it's a long time, but it's just, it's good. If they can make that kind of seamless in the way that Oppenheimer did, I think it could be a really strong contender as well. Next category, Best Makeup and Hairstyling. So predicted nominees are Barbie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, reach for the bottom of the barrel here, Maestro, and then Priscilla. Predicted nominee is Maestro, and that's going to win. What are your thoughts?
If Dune gets nominated, Hunger Games can fuck off.
Yeah.
And then it'll pretty much be a battle between Maestro, Dune, and Barbie, I reckon. I think the makeup in Barbie is very Barbie-like. Like, I hope people know what I mean by that, but it's like exactly what you think from a Barbie film, The
hairstyling.
And the hairstyling as well, like each Barbie and each Ken had a different look to them.
Yeah.
So that brought some uniqueness. I'm only basing my opinion off Maestro based on that one image you showed me. But the fact that doesn't look like Bradley Cooper is very similar to how Colin Farrell didn't look like the Penguin, and that should have won.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be full on board for Maestro to win because no doubt there'll be more in that. Otherwise, Dune, you got so many characters. I mean,
Dune, yeah.
Is it Bill Skarsgård? Bill Skarsgård?
No, are you thinking of Austin Butler, where he's just that white thing?
Austin Butler, but also Bill Skarsgård as the main bad guy, the big guy.
Oh yeah.
As well, he looks quite different.
Yeah. There's a lot in here.
Austin Butler looks like Matt Smith in these trailers.
Yeah.
Like, if Dune makes it, it has to get nominated and potentially win just based on that fact alone.
Yeah.
Like, make an actor look completely like a different actor.
Damn, I'm looking forward to that movie. It's going to be good. I would like to make a case for Oppenheimer. I thought they had very good makeup and hairstyling. Hairstyling akin to the era, but the makeup, especially throughout the different time periods, making Cillian Murphy look much younger. And then as he aged throughout the entire story, I thought was just really good. And then you got Gary Oldman as President Truman in there.
I'm still baffled.
Yeah, Nate didn't even know that Gary Oldman was in this movie at all. And I said it the other night, I'm like, he looks unrecognizable in the movie. And you're like, well, Gary Oldman's in it. And the fact that they can slip such a well-known actor past you through makeup and hairstyling.
It's insane.
It's insane. And I think it speaks to the quality. And saying that, I don't know what Priscilla is. I can't judge that. Hunger Birds, I don't even know why that's even being mentioned here. I think Oppenheimer will actually have a play in here. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, that's fine. They're always pretty solid.
Yeah.
Move on to Best Sound now. Okay, so predicted nominees are Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and The Zone of Interest. So thoughts on this one?
Dune doesn't get delayed. It gets in there, and it's a two-race contender between Oppenheimer and Dune. Yeah. For sure. Who would win? I have no idea. But if that's a two-horse race, if either of them won, I won't complain because Oppenheimer's sound was absolutely fantastic. Sorry, when you say sound, does that include score or just sound design and editing?
Yeah, it's sound editing, sound mixing. They combine the two.
Yeah. Even then, just, the whole fact that it had, for Oppenheimer, that you see test blasts, you see the visual first, and then you hear the sound.
Yeah.
That is very realistic.
Yeah.
And then the same thing when it's been out for 3 weeks, so spoilers.
Yeah.
But yeah, when the Trinity test happens, you see it happen.
Yeah.
You feel what's happening.
Yeah.
And then you hear it.
Yeah. So I think the explosion comes in. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the sound editing in that is fantastic. And then, you have all those little bits here and there in terms of like the
feet stomping and all that,
particles and whatnot. But if Dune doesn't get delayed, that is going to give Oppenheimer a big run for its money, just based off the first Dune, because the sound design and editing in that was fantastic. So I think it could be a two horse race between Oppenheimer and Dune.
Yeah, completely see that. I mean, Maestro, it's kind of it's musical based. So sound mixing comes quite heavily into that.
Yeah.
I think that could be a good player as well. Again, if Napoleon is as good as it looks, then it could actually come in there and make a play. I know what you're looking at. I know why you're going to laugh. We're going to get to that soon. That's the next category. We'll just move on to the next category. But yes, I do think Oppenheimer is going to win. If Dune's in there, then it's going to be a close one. All right. Best visual effects. So, the predicted nominees are Blue Beetle, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, The Little Mermaid, and Transformers Rise of the Beast. It's been a tough year for visual effects, but yeah, Nain can't hold in his laughter, so take it away, man. What are your thoughts on this?
First of all, the fact that Little Mermaid's winning.
Oh, yes, Little Mermaid's predicted to win. It does get worse, by the way. And remember, we haven't seen Blue Beetle.
I know, but we've seen the trailers for it. Guys, like out of these ones that's noted, Guardians is the clear winner.
It's the best by far, yeah.
By far.
Uh-huh.
If Dune comes in, it's going to shut on everything.
Yes, or it should do. Yeah.
I even think Oppenheimer should be nominated in this category. You got the use of practical and limited CGI effects as well. You got that. I feel even Gran Turismo is something that can be put in here. And just in terms of racing, like, Why is Transformers and Indiana Jones here? They were horrible CGI based. Even the Little Mermaid. I mean, not the creatures, the sea life like flounder looked horrendous. It's just and its favorite to win. Wow,
Yeah.
no, please just release Dune so I can sweep this. Like, oh wow,
It's a weird category, but yeah, I just tried to have a brief look at what could, and there is not much that are like, well, this is like this visual effects contender. I liked Transformers: Rise of the Beast, but there is some stuff in there that's like not good.
yeah.
Indiana Jones, I think for the most part, are good, but there are some stuff again that's not that great. Little Mermaid, I think for the most part it's good, and for how CGI based it has to be, I think it does good with that. But these aren't like best visual effects. Like when you hear like the Oscars and best visual effects, you think of like really good stuff. Yeah. I mean, Avatar. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I thought was really good.
Me too.
And that's the only one here that I would really root for. I think Dune 2 would make a play on this. Otherwise, The Creator could make a play.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that could be good, and then just round it out with some other good ones. I think perhaps not Wonka. I think you might be right. Something like round it out with Napoleon, Oppenheimer, how they use like practical effects and combine that with visual effects.
Yeah.
But I think Nolan's anti-CGI thing will kind of allow
hinder that.
Yeah. So I think we'll see that come to fruition. But if Bluebeard is nominated, I'm just gonna root for that just because it'd be funny if it won.
Biggest underdog ever. Yeah. I just still can't believe that Variety think Little Mermaid's gonna win it over Guardians. Like Guardians had way better CGI than any of these films.
It is a weird choice. I think because actually I have no clue at all.
Because water, and they're still on the Way of Water vibe.
But it's so different.
Yeah, I know.
And under that logic, Aquaman should be in there as well. But hey, it could be worse if we nominated for the Flash. The Flash CGI.
Oh, but remember the CGI was done on purpose for that.
Oh, so the Academy will know that it's on purpose and see the brilliant use of it. All right, on to the last one that we're going to be covering now. Best Original Score. The predicted nominees for this is Elemental, Next Goal Wins, Oppenheimer, Priscilla, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Our predicted winner is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And obviously, if Doom does come out, expect that to be a nomination.
Stole my opening line.
Pardon?
I said stole my opening line.
Sorry about that.
I wouldn't be mad about Across the Spider-Verse winning, but I think Oppenheimer just had the overall better score.
Yeah.
I think the score for Oppenheimer puts you into that film, and you can just feel everything. You can feel the tension when they're about to do Trinity test. You can feel like the conflict between Oppenheimer and the end scene. You have the score coming and that final conversation between Einstein and Oppenheimer. You feel the ramifications of what they've done throughout that dialogue, and especially the final literally 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I think the score, the way that the score accompanies this movie is the best for the year.
Yeah.
But I think because Across the Spider-Verse is so memorable, it could take it out. But I think this is Oppenheimer's. Unless Dune is part of this, then I think it will be a 2-horse race between Oppenheimer and Dune.
My argument against Doom, and I haven't seen it, of course, would be that part 1 already won. And if it's too similar, then I think it'll get the nomination regardless, but I don't think it would win just because it's kind of same but different. So it'd have to be kind of really different for it to impress the Academy to vote it above Spider-Verse or Oppenheimer. But regardless of if when the movie comes out, it will be nominated. Yeah, Oppenheimer and Spider-Verse, it's a tough one. I love both scores. I have so many tracks from both in my soundtrack playlist. So yeah, it's really a 2-horse race between the two. I would probably say Oppenheimer, just the way it supports the movie and the experience and scale of the movie. I think it does that really well. There's just so many tracks that are just like anxiety inducing and
Yeah.
really kind of gets you into the head of Oppenheimer. But Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse plays really well with, motives and mixing those together to really give a sense of character. So there's just so much love about both. But yeah, it's gonna be tight. I don't remember Elemental specifically, but I remember the score being good in it. So I do expect that to be in there. I still don't know what Priscilla is. I've never heard of that. And Next Goal Wins.
Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
If that doesn't get delayed, also.
Conventionally, yeah, they are thinking of delaying that one too, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that movie will never be released. I've been hearing about this movie for years, I feel like.
Yeah, I think ever since before COVID, it was somewhere on our honorable mentions for top 10 2022.
Yeah. Then it moved into least anticipated at some point along the way after Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that is going to do it for us today on today's episode. And we hope that you enjoyed today's discussions as much as we did. We clocked in over 2 hours for this one. So quite a meaty podcast.
I think that whole last topic was an hour.
It was good, yeah. But it gets me really excited for Oscar season now.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be really competitive, which is good because the last couple of years it's been like really easy to kind of know which ones are going to win and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To get a stacked best picture race is going to be a good time. But yeah, to you guys, thank you for so much for tuning into us. Your support and engagement does mean a lot to us. If you liked what you heard today, follow us on your favorite podcast platform and consider giving us a 5-star rating if you think we deserve it. Stay connected with us on Twitter and YouTube as well. Before we say goodbye, we just want to hear your thoughts. Did you agree with our discussions today? Flick us a message at Movie Gains and share your perspective. For 4K movie reviews, box office analysis, and award season coverage, visit moviegains.com. Also, you can sign up to our weekly email newsletter to stay up to date with all of our content. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. Keep bringing the hype. Peace.
See you later.